Imagine getting from Chicago to St. Louis by train in just a couple of hours.
After more than 2 decades in the making, high-speed rail between Chicago and St. Louis is finally coming. The Illinois High-Speed Rail project promises faster, smoother travel across the heart of the Midwest and could reshape regional transportation in the United States. Recently, with the help of the Trump administration, the project is moving forward another step. But what exactly is going on? Why does this project matter in the Midwest? Could it help the U.S. finally catch up with the world's leading high-speed rail systems? Let's find out in today's episode of Great Trainspeed. Hi, if you're interested in rail stories, our channel is for you. Recently, a major milestone has been reached on the path to high-speed rail in Illinois. U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean P. Duffy recently announced $157 million in funding for completing the Springfield Rail Improvements Project. The $544 million Springfield Rail Improvements Project is designed to reroute freight and passenger rail traffic in Springfield, Illinois. This shift is important to the larger Chicago to St. Louis high-speed rail corridor, aiming to support faster, safer, and more efficient train operations through the capital city. The Illinois High-Speed Rail Commission recently showed the world 3 finalist route options for the proposed high-speed rail line connecting Chicago to St. Louis. Each option has different alignments, regional stops, and estimated travel times. The first route option follows the Interstate 55 to 72 to 57 median corridor, with stops in University Park, Champaign-Urbana, Decatur, and Springfield. This route provides extensive regional coverage with an estimated travel time of 2 hours and 38 minutes. The second option runs entirely along the Interstate 55 median, stopping in Joliet, Bloomington Normal, and Springfield. This more direct route trims the travel time to 2 hours and 38 minutes. The third and fastest proposal is an interstate-adjacent and county road, bypassing the interstates in favor of a more streamlined path through open areas. With stops in Springfield, Decatur, Champaign-Urbana, and Joliet, this route offers the quickest connection, just 2 hours and 23 minutes.
High-speed rail is part of putting America back on its feet and moving forward with its economy.
With federal support and planning advancing rapidly, the question is no longer if high-speed rail is coming to Illinois, but when and which choice it will take. The future of rail in the Midwest is picking up steam. To understand that, we need to look at the broader context of the Chicago to St. Louis corridor and the exciting new decisions that are now unfolding.
The Illinois high-speed rail showed off its top speed of 110 miles per hour on Friday.
The Illinois High-Speed Rail project originally began around 25 years ago, but it wasn't until 2010 that it gained real momentum, thanks to a major boost of more than $1.6 billion in federal funding, largely provided through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. In this area, more than 90% of the 35 million annual trips along the Chicago to St. Louis corridor either begin or end in one of those 2 cities. Yet nearly all of them, about 99%, are still made by car or plane. The region needs a more balanced transportation network to shift travel habits and offer more mobility options. That means either introducing a new mode of travel or significantly upgrading the existing, underutilized intercity passenger rail. So the launch of 110-mile-per-hour service on this corridor marks a historic milestone. It sets a precedent for modernizing other shared-use corridors across the country. Just as importantly, the project demonstrates how freight and passenger rail can successfully coexist. For decades, the two have often been at odds, especially since the 1970s, when freight carriers moved away from passenger service. But this collaboration, supported by public investment and strong partnerships, shows how both sectors can benefit. The Illinois Department of Transportation oversaw the project, with Union Pacific as the primary partner, said Scott Spiegel, Passenger Rail and Transit Communications Manager for IDOT. We view Union Pacific as a very important partner in this and other rail projects.
Most of the work that will be done in this area is crossing work, upgrading crossings.
To realize Illinois' bold new vision for developing high-speed passenger rail, what has to happen behind the scene? The entire corridor has undergone a comprehensive overhaul, starting with the roadbed and tracks. The result is an exceptionally smooth ride that sets a new benchmark for passenger rail. Upgraded sidings now allow trains to pass freight or meet oncoming traffic with fewer delays, enhancing overall efficiency. Every grade crossing along the line has been reconstructed with advanced safety features, such as stronger gates that are harder to bypass and sensors that detect stalled vehicles. Towns along the route have also seen major improvements. Rebuilt roads and sidewalks, plus fencing that keeps pedestrians off the tracks, all contribute to a safer and more pleasant rail environment. Stations along the corridor are either completely rebuilt or extensively renovated. These facilities will provide a better customer experience with amenities like free Wi-Fi and connections to bike pedestrian facilities. These new and improved stations have the potential to be the cornerstone of development efforts in their communities by inviting tourism and acting as a gateway to the community. In addition, the corridor now features brand new, clean and quiet locomotives that accelerate faster and operate more reliably. New locomotives built by Siemens were put into service. New passenger coaches are already in use, with economy class in operation and business class, and cafe cars soon to follow. All signaling and control systems have been replaced. Union Pacific, the track owner, has installed a system that meets Federal Positive Train Control (PTC) requirements and is now standard on heavy-haul freight railroads. Recently updated in the Springfield segment, engineering firm Hansen has led design and construction efforts, working across agencies to coordinate bridge design, drainage systems, land acquisition, and integration with major freight lines like Union Pacific, Norfolk Southern, and Canadian National. By 2023, significant progress had already been made. Trains were running at speeds of up to 90 miles per hour, and testing was underway to support 110 miles per hour service. In May of that year, Amtrak and the Illinois Department of Transportation officially authorized trains to operate at 110 miles per hour on selected segments of the corridor, resulting in a reduction of approximately 15 minutes in end-to-end travel time. The infrastructure overhaul included extensive track rebuilding and double tracking in key areas, particularly between Joliet and East St. Louis, to accommodate higher speeds and improve safety. A high-speed train between Chicago and St. Louis isn't just cool, it's crucial. A 2-hour ride would beat driving, even with the extra time spent getting to the station. Faster trains also attract more riders, boosting revenue and offering more flexible schedules. You could leave St. Louis at 6 a.m. and be in Chicago by 8, ready for a meeting. Speed also creates induced demand, making same-day business trips easy and allowing for more spontaneous travel. When you compare it to flying, a high-speed train really shines. With all the airport hassle, check-ins, security, delays, the flight starts to lose its edge. A 2-hour train ride is smoother, more comfortable, often cheaper, and with way better views. Just look at Spain for proof. When Madrid-Barcelona's trip time dropped from 6.5 hours to 2.5, ridership skyrocketed from under 2 million to 7 million. It's clear, speed doesn't just save time, it drives demand, boosts revenue, and makes the whole system work better. A 2-hour ride for Chicago-St. Louis could be the push this whole thing needs to really take off. Even better, this route is just the beginning. Chicago to St. Louis isn't a one-off, it's part of a bigger Midwest high-speed network. If it works here, we could see future connections like St. Louis, Kansas City, and Chicago, Minneapolis, making travel across the region so much easier. That's all for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next episode.